You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. You wanted it, you got it. A radio program that helps teach you options trading inside and out, basic to complex. This is Options Bootcamp. Whether you want to learn how to protect your portfolio, generate income, or even become a master of volatility, the Options Bootcamp drill instructors will break it all down for you. Now, let's get you into peak options trading shape. Here are your Options Bootcamp drill instructors.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back. It is Education Wednesday. Time to do some education. Yes, it is time once again for Options Bootcamp, your premier source for options learning. My name, of course, is Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as from the network upon which all of you folks are binging, the network that continues to grow, the Hot Options Report. Adding to the shows coming at you. Yet another reason why you should be subscribed to the full network. Over a dozen shows coming at you now over there. Literally 2 to 3 a day now. So it's wild stuff. 3 new shows hitting the network in the last roughly 6 to 8 months. So it's been a wild time out there on the network front. Remember, if you're listening just Bootcamp, you are missing out. Make sure you check out the full network. And of course, if you're ready for it, if you're ready to take that plunge, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. That will get you not 1, but 2 additional shows. Awesome Pro Q&A going all over the place yesterday. FX, metals, crypto, equities, vol, you name it. With our buddy, Mr. Rich Excel, who runs the Hogwarts for derivatives traders over there at the University of Illinois. So all kinds of good stuff going on there, tackling all your questions, as well as, of course, options oddities. You get giveaways, all kinds of fun. theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go. As we go around the horn, see who's joining us on the old OBC today. I'm pleased to welcome back the black-hatted one himself, Mr. Dan Passarelli from Market Taker Mentoring, what the cool kids call to Mr. P, welcome back to the show. How are things in the land of to
Hello, Mark. Hello, everyone. Things are great here. Can't complain, just talking short squeezes, talking lots of stuff.
Can't complain, but you're going to anyway, I have the feeling, sir. All right, let's keep on rolling. A little bit of the old mail call.
Mail call. Time to look at questions submitted by our listeners.
All right, everybody, let's do this. Let's commence operations here on the old mail call. See what you folks have on the brain, as well as what questions and comments you have for us. It's always fun to see which directions you folks pull us in. Lately, you've been pulling us in a lot of the forgotten terms direction. You folks can't get enough of that. I don't know, Dan, it seems like maybe at least for now we're done with that. I don't know. Are you sad? Are you going to shed a single tear? Even though I think we did about, 500 terms at this point?
Yeah, I think it might be good to get on to the next phase for now.
The next phase of our lives. We'll see. I have a feeling they're going to draw us back in. But for now, of course, if you have submissions, by all means, hit us up. Who the last guy sent us? 35 AI generated submissions. So yeah, there's a lot of them floating around out there. But let's see what you folks have on the brain. First off, let's pay off some of our questions of the week that we were talking about on the show last week. We also had some fun flash polls peppered in during the week about a lot of activity that we've spotted that we wanted to kind of pick your brain on as well. We've been talking a lot. Our buddy, the Flowmaster, on the Thursday episode of the Option Block, has been highlighting a lot of interesting paper in Unity. Unity, ticker symbol U, if you've been following all these wild meme names of late. Unity has certainly been mixed into the bag, along with, the wildness that is open and everything else out there. But last week we asked you, hey, 10,000 of the Unity July 40 calls were trading as high as 62 cents that day. And that price is, are you a buyer or a seller? Are you just, what the hell is going on in Unity? And that's the way most of you went. 54% roughly said, what the hell is going on in Unity? It was quite the wild run out there. 30.8% of you wanted to buy them, and about 16% or close to it wanted to sell them. I want to go look here really quickly and see, where is Unity trading right now? A 32.90. So yeah, those 40 calls not looking good. Dan, I'm sure you over there at MTM have been just ensconced. I'm sure a lot of your mentees want to know about all these kind of, it's summer meme. What are we on? 5.0 now, whatever number it is. Open's been dominating the tape. Lucid's been up there. Unity's been in. That's GameStop popped onto our top 10 again a day or two ago. It's wild times out there, Dan.
Well, and let's not forget about Kohl's.
Yes, Kohl's as well. There's another one I was forgetting. Yes.
Yeah. All those have been lighting up our options rater scanner lately. We do a lot of work with short squeezes, and it's just been a great time to be trading them. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, our chat's mentioning Kohl's here as well. If I had read our chat, I would have remembered Kohl's. Oh, they're saying Wolf Speed is back. Is the Wolf back? Are we returning? Oh yeah, the Wolf up 30% today, trading $1.84, up 42 cents on the option block. I want to say about a year ago, Henry and I kind of collectively discovered this name. And we were just like, Wolf Speed. We just spent a whole episode just laughing about that name, how it is the most ridiculous name. They took two cool names they thought sounded cool, Wolf and Speed, and they slammed them together. Like, oh, Wolf Speed has to be awesome. And the stock went on a little bit of a rampage for a while. Yeah, a year ago it was $21, Dan. And then it just completely fell out of bed. They were talking about delisting it. It got down to 40 cents. And it turns out, Dan, this is just the old Cree light bulbs. So there you go. That's as exciting as it actually is. But they thought Wolf Speed sounded a lot cooler. So, and it did for a while. But we must have laughed about this for about 3 months on the option block. Just really, Wolf Speed.
Oh my gosh.
Two words don't make sense together. They don't make sense as a name, but somehow it's awesome at the end of the day. Yeah, when it was 40 cents, yeah, you could have bought all of the forever calls that you wanted, listeners, for 40 cents. Let's see, when was this? This was probably back. Oh, this is not even that long ago. This was July 1st, end of June. So yeah, now the stock's $1.83, Dan. So man, we are back in it. I think we're in meme. What is it? 6.0. What number is it now, Dan? I lose count.
Yeah, I don't know, but another one that lit up our options radar yesterday was speaking. This is what I thought you were saying at first. Not wolf, but woof, which is how some people say wolf. Petco.
Petco. Yeah.
That one, Kapowski, man. Holy crap.
Yeah, so I guess so much for the sleepy summer, right? We're back in it. And once again, it's all crappy names that have no material returns that are destined for the trash heap that suddenly the meme kids get a fixation for. It's good stuff out there. Have you been slinging a lot of this meme craziness out here? Right, yeah, I can't believe Wolf Speed's back. All right, let's keep rolling here, listener. That brings a smile to my face. I'm sure the Flowmaster will be excited later this week as well. We mentioned last week as well, hey, it's crypto week in Congress. Of course, it was last week. A lot of legislation being passed on the crypto front. As a result, we saw new all-time highs in Bitcoin blowing past 120,000 for the first time. Massive resurgences in ETH and Solana, and even XRP rallying hard, blowing past Tether for maybe not the first time, but the first time in quite some time. So a lot going on out there. So we said to you folks, quite simply, which crypto asset has the most upside potential in the second half of 2025? And Dan, plain old vanilla Bitcoin took it, 46.9%, 31.3% for ETH. I have a feeling if we did that question again this week, ETH might win. And then 18.8% for Solana, 3.1% for other. I think to me, the story for crypto this year, Dan, has been just this resurgence in Ethereum. It was the largest loser we were tracking of all the major futures assets that we track that trade actively on the futures rundown. It was off 50% year to date, and now it's already back in the green and up a bit. So yeah, ETH's on quite the run, Dan. I know you haven't done as much crypto of late, but has this all these massive headlines? Have they started to maybe lure you back into a little bit of IBIT or something?
No, I mean, I've got just like a teeny weeny smattering of holdings from before, but I mean, it's just dabble size. And yeah, I mean, I remember at the time thinking, why is Ethereum getting beat up so much? And Solana was in the toilet too. And I was like, these actually have uses in the world. They're not just like some pretend asset that people can gamble on. So yeah, it's nice to see that Ether's come back pretty well.
Yeah, threatening $4,000 again, which is quite a resurgence from whatever it was 1,500. Threatening 1,000 in the wrong direction not too long ago, Dan. So yeah, interesting stuff out there. Everything old is new again. Wolf Speed and ETH. That's the theme for the week. We also asked you last week, listeners, kind of fun because we saw a lot of things popping off in the market. We know our audience, Dan. They like to harvest a little bit of the old risk premium. So we asked you last week, what is your favorite name to harvest the old risk premium in right now? We gave you 3 names and the infamous other. Had a bunch of write-ins. Hymns. Kamiko was an interesting one. A few others that people wrote in. I'm blanking on what they were right now. But our actual selections were Palantir, NVIDIA, and Circle. And Palantir took it, Dan. 42.1%. 31.6% for NVIDIA, 21.1% for Circle, and 5.3% for other. Dan, are you harvesting the old risk premium in Palantir, or is it a little bit too wild for you?
I mean, I had a period where I was, but I mean, that was harvesting risk premium with like covered calls, cash cured puts as part of an investment strategy. And now, I mean, I don't know. For me, I don't think it's an investment strategy anymore. I think it's just stupid priced. So I'm not. So yeah, and if I were doing things like credit spreads and such, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is a little too wily, I think, for me. I would much rather do things that move a little bit less. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't really say that either because I have some that I just know really, really well that move like stupid crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I've been out of the Palantir and NVIDIA game for a bit.
We also asked you last week, 16.5 puts were trading for size in VIX last week for 39 cents. At that price, are you a buyer or a seller? And it seems like we hit the right price, Dan, because our audience was pretty much split all week long. At the end of the week, they said they came down just slightly north of 50%. 53.1% said you wanted to buy them. 46.9% wanted to sell them. So I guess around 40 cents for the 16.5 puts in August. That's about the equilibrium price. Of course, looking pretty good today as vol is getting taken to the woodshed. Speaking of VIX, really quickly for wrap up last week's questions, we saw a size ratio call spread going up roughly 1/4. The AUG 21.35 ratio call spread, again, selling 1, buying 4, I believe, for around $4. We said, would you rather buy it or sell it, or what the hell is a ratio spread? And thankfully, 50% of you wanted to sell it. That is normally the way to go with those type of things. Let's fast forward to this week, Dan, and stuff that's been lighting up our tape, and I want to get some of your thoughts on these, including some of your favorites. This was just a fun one we noticed yesterday, Dan. Circle is trading, what is it, around $200, I believe, somewhere right now. Let's see exactly. Yeah, 200 exactly. Yesterday, Dan, we saw a large print, 20,000 of the July 445s expiring this week, going up for 15. They traded actually 15 cents. Can you believe that, Dan? The 445s. How ridiculous is that call skew if the 445s traded for 15 cents with the stock around $2? And these are going away in 4 days, or whatever it was. Man, the bids, they're insane, Dan. So we just said at that price, are you a buyer or sold to you, or what the hell? I think the right answer to that is what the hell, Dan. And that's exactly what 50% of our audience said. 31.3% said sold to you, which is also the right answer. 19% wanted to buy those. I don't know what's wrong with that 19%, Dan. They wanted to pay. I think there's a lot you could do between 200 and 445 to hedge your risk if you sold those. That's all I'm saying. I mean, 15 cents, not usually a ton, but for a call going out, the stock has to more than double in roughly 4 days. I think you're okay with that. 15 cents. I mean, someone paid 15 cents for those, Dan, which is, I think they skipped the first half of Natenberg if they're paying 15 cents for those bad boys.
Wow, man. And you know what the weird problem with that is if you're trading in a regular Reg T account, your broker is probably like crazy about the margin required for it, and the risk reward probably wouldn't even be worth the trade, or the return on assets probably wouldn't be worth the trade because they'd require you to post so much margin.
They tie up a bunch for this insane stock. So yeah, the juice, is it worth the squeeze? Yeah, that's up to you folks. But yeah, a lot of you folks said, what the hell? And that is the right answer, Dan. We put it there for a read. We saw that print. We had to check it 3 times to make sure we weren't just hallucinating, Dan. I mean, we weren't doing a little bit too much of the Passarelli day drinking out there. Here's your other favorite, Dan. Palantir. We saw this yesterday. We had to ask our audience about this. Along the same lines, going back to your favorite Palantir. Just yesterday, Dan, the D-Spar puts, 100 puts, traded 7,500 times for $4. The stock is around somewhere close to 150, I believe, right now. Let's just see really quickly, get an updated one. Palantir 153.5. Yes. So $4, Dan. We said bought or sold to our audience. What do you think? And which way are you going, Dan?
Oh man. Well, in theory, I would be a seller, but as Yogi Berra said, in theory and practice are the same, but in practice they aren't. So I'm not actually going to be a seller, but because I think the stock probably should be trading closer to 100. I just don't know if it'll happen.
I think earlier this year, I might want to say a few months ago, we had another poll around the same level when the stock was lower, and the D-Spar puts then were trading for around $18, I believe, when we asked our audience. A lot of people wanted to sell those. That was a good do. Obviously, they're down to $4, but still pretty juicy when you look at the stock is around 150. So, yeah, listeners, that is live right now, and 57.1% just went live before the show, Dan. 57.1% want to sell them. 42.9% actually want to buy them, Dan. They want to pay $4 for those puts. Wow, that is interesting. Speaking of interesting, this is our main question of the week. What happens is, Dan, we see all this wild paper during the week and we want to share it with our audience, and it leads to a bunch of fun back and forth. But this is our actual primary question of the week. Could be a good topic for a future episode, but we're going to discuss it now, which is, what is the biggest challenge facing your options trading right now, Dan? And they said, of course, if you don't see your problem, you could write in with your own suggestions. But we gave them 4 choices to choose from, Dan. We said, too many things to trade, which is a legit problem. There's a lot of crap out there. Just sorting through it, idea generation is a challenge. The spreads are too wide, so depending on what you're trading, that could certainly be an issue. Do you have bad execution or bad fills? Or, because we know our audience, Dan, number 4, finding juice to sell. What is your choice for the number? Maybe you have a different suggestion for the number 1 challenge facing your options trading right now. And B, which way do you think our audience is going, Dan?
I mean, for me, what seems to happen with the market is over time, like there's this regime of how things are working, and then all of a sudden there's a paradigm shift and things work different. And that happened maybe like 3 weeks ago. And I don't know, like there was a period where things were just like pretty straight and copacetic. And I'm still working on this paradigm shift. I don't know. Definitely not too many things to trade because I just run all of our market taker scanners and just let everything else, all the other noise fall to the wayside. Spreads are too wide. I just don't trade them. Execution/bad fills. To me, that comes along with skill and experience,
Yeah, that's a highly subjective one. Even though we put that in there, I think a lot of people are not equipped to really gauge what a good fill is, right?
Yeah. Which and for anybody who did answer that, don't worry, you can get that skill, just keep tinkering at it. And then finding juice to sell is a little bit more related to what I'm doing because some stocks were doing this and now all of a sudden things are different, which kind of is natural as some of these deals come out with other countries and the tariffs. And as we get other announcements on rare earths and uranium and stuff like we did last week, we're getting a lot of stocks shifting their paradigm these days.
Let's see what paradigms our audience are shifting. And Dan, did I say we know our audience are what? 40.7% are having a hard time right now finding the juice to sell. They can't find enough juice. They want more juice, Dan. They are juiceless here in the summer malaise. Nicholas in our chat says he can't find enough juice except for Circle last week. Yeah, Circle was wild. Maybe I think we have a listener question about it. Maybe we'll get to Circle a little bit later. Too many things to trade. I thought this might win, but this is coming in number 2, Dan, 29.6%. Then we have a tie for 3 with both about 15% for the spreads are too wide and there's bad fills out there. So interesting. I said we know our audience, Dan, and we do. All right. Speaking of the audience, Dan, let's see what else they have on the brain out here this week. Let's go out to this one. He actually sent this in a while ago, so he's been waiting patiently. This is spicy tea with a 3, I suppose. He says, I only buy debit spreads. No outright calls or puts for me. The math just makes so much more sense. Outlays are lower, and the probability of making money is higher. Not sure why this is so controversial. Because people are afraid of capping their upside? I guess maybe if you're only trading ASTs. Yeah, that's another one we forgot to mention. ASTs, Space Mobiles or whatever, the crazy meme stock. He says, I guess if you're only trading ASTs or some other YOLO meme name, but for most people, for most options trading, it seems like spreads are the way to go. Dan, he's preaching to the choir. We've been saying spreads since episode 1, 12, 13 years ago, Dan. So I think spicy tea is right on. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, that's why that's why there are spreads. You just get so much better risk reward. And when people first learn options, first of all, they probably don't know about spreads, and second of all, they're just trying to figure stuff out, get their sea legs with options. So that's what the newbies start trading. Oh, I'll buy calls. So I'm buying a calls like buying a stock. Oh, okay. But anybody who's been trading options for more than a couple of years, you're in spreads. I love it. Spicy tea. I think you're doing it right, my friend.
You're a very spicy fellow, a very smart, wise, and dare I say it, Dan, handsome man. I could tell by the way he writes his questions. He's a very, very attractive fellow. All right, let's keep rolling. Let's go out to, this is what I was talking about, Dan, with Circle. I knew he had a question about this. This comes from Avili, maybe Avili. He says, have you guys seen what the puts are trading for in Circle lately? Seems like it's just too good to pass up. Am I missing some obvious risks? How should I approach this, or should I just avoid it? Yeah, Dan, this has been wild. We talked about the IPO when it went crazy and stuff, but we talked about it again. I remember I brought it up last Monday on our Crypto Rundown show, because obviously listeners, Circle is a stablecoin name. And we had our buddy Bill Ulivari on there, former longtime market maker, risk manager, now an RIA and asset manager. And when I mentioned Circle and he pulled up the options chain mid-show, I could see it because it was on video. He nearly fell out of his chair. He was so excited. He just started, in the middle of the show, just started hitting bids on everything he could find out there. Yeah, it was pretty juicy. I know Nicholas was just talking about it. Some of our pro members were doing it as well. I even got lured to the dark side out there, Dan, because they were paying I think the technical term is absurd premiums for a pretty far, I mean, not 15 cents for the 445s, but you're talking, $5, $8, $10 for puts that were going out in less than a week that were pretty far out of the money. Even I got tempted. And yeah, again, and who asked this? Abilene. again, you can approach this in a lot of different ways, and this is a good question. Obviously, you don't want to bet the house on this. You're not going to go out there blowing out 50 lots on this kind of thing because that would tie up a lot of capital. And B, obviously, Circle went IPO at $30. So it could obviously retest lows. I think at the time, the stock was around, I want to say, $215, something like that. And Bill was selling the week and a half out 195 puts for, I want to say, at least $10. I ended up selling the about 4 day to go 190 puts, so closer to expiration and farther out of the money. And I did those for around $5 or $6, so those are pretty juicy as well. But you have to gauge that, obviously. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. Spreads are the obvious one. So you could turn around. You could have at the time sold, I think it was the 190, let's say maybe 170 or 175 or 160, pick your poison, put spread, and done them for decent levels. There were still bids on those lower puts, obviously, so you're gonna have to pay a little bit for those, but that will obviously cap your risk. The flip side of that is you could be on the hook for whatever your spread is. It could be $15, $20, $30 if Circle takes a huge run. And what it ended up doing is taking a huge run, 30 plus handles in the other direction. So it worked out pretty well. The other way to approach it is, of course, sizing. Don't do 50 lots. You're not putting your entire account on this. What I ended up doing was just sprinkling a few contracts in there because it was attractive. It was a high probability trade, but you want to keep things manageable. So that's what I ended up doing, using sizing to manage your risk or just avoid it. You know what? Just avoiding it is not the worst thing either. I mean, they're attractive, but usually puts are bid for a reason, Dan. And it did retest that 190 level, I do believe, yesterday. I want to see where it is right now. So hopefully Bill closed out when they were back up to 201 now. Hopefully Bill closed his puts out when we were back around 230, 240 last week. Dan. Knowing him and the long-term risk manager he's been, I think he did. But that said, Dan, have you been slinging a lot of Circle in your pro chat? And what he wants to know, how should he approach these types of scenarios, or should he just avoid them?
I have not been doing anything in Circle, actually. It's just not something that I looked into too much. But I mean, looking at the chart, I mean, they just went public like less than 2 months ago. And you look at the charts and it looks like, oh, well, it's up a little bit from where it IPO'd. But if you look at the y-axis here, no, it's like had a 300% swing and back down 50%. It's crazy. Like, that's not a small move. So, I mean, it was just at 100 like a month and a half ago. So, geez Louise, man, I don't know. I mean, I guess what I would do is look closer at it and see if it's a viable company or if it's just, one of these potential flash in the pans. I don't know. I haven't followed this company that closely, honestly. So for right now, for sure, I'm staying away.
It was quite the darling of the stable coins. And of course, stable coins were all the rage last week with the Genius Act, hence its huge rally. Even right now, listed, I'm looking, the stock's a little bit north of 200. The options going out on Friday, 195 puts, still trading $3. 192 half puts, trading $2.50. 190 puts, close to $2. So there still is, again, you have to be comfortable out there, doing this. This is not for the faint of heart. But that said, if you're looking, what was our question earlier? You're looking for the juice, Dan. The juice is out there in Circle. The question is whether it is worth the squeeze or if it's too spicy, this juice, Dan. And it might cause you to choke. Oh, we got a question coming into our live chat for you, Dan. This coming from the God, the OG option God. He wants to know, has Dan been trading open in his chat room? You trading a lot of these hot meme names. You can't have ignored open. It's been insane, Dan. You guys doing anything on open?
Open is on our list, our short squeeze candidate list, which just got added to it recently, actually. That's a fun one. That is a fun one. So yeah, I'm always watching all of these, especially these little cheapies below $5 with low float. They're just so great for these short squeezes. I mean, I just like an hour ago or something, I did a whole online training for just our general audience. Actually, anybody could join on trading short squeezes. And we're talking about Cole's talking about lots of stuff.
Yeah, Open went to what, $5 in one day. The stock was 40, 50 cents a couple of weeks ago, Dan. So you could have bought all of the forever calls you wanted, Dan, for 40, 50 cents. And then, lo and behold, people are trading the fives a couple of weeks later for 60 cents and just wild things going on. It's like we kissed five, and I think that was about it. It never really looked back. I mean, look, yeah, I got up to right around 497, Dan. So literally just kissed five and then fell out of bed. Same day, got closed that day at 309. What a wild run that day. Started at 316, went up to about $5 and closed at 309 on the same day, Dan. I remember looking intraday at some of the flow, and people were paying absurd amounts for the it was so wild, Dan. We started this new show, the Hot Options Report, where we break down all the hot flow for the day, and Open kicked everything else to the curb. It was the number one most active equity option. Kicked Tesla to the curb, kicked NVIDIA. We have seen it, but it's usually very rare. Usually it's a big name around earnings season that's doing a big number and doing a lot of flow that can kick Tesla and NVIDIA to the curb. But let alone Open, not only does it take in the top spot, but it's just blowing into the top 10 from out of nowhere. We had never talked about Open in the top 10 before, and it comes in pretty much at number one. It's wild. It's absolutely wild stuff out here.
Oh, there is somebody who is naked short the 5 calls who was probably having chest pain.
He was sweating. He was the old guy back on the trading floor, Dan, on Expiration Friday, who was standing in the corner, sweating profusely and popping Tums and kind of shaking to himself as he watched every tick of the stock. And then when it retreated off of 5, he was popping bottles and having a good time. But he earned it. He earned it in sweat equity, Dan, for a little bit. All right. So we've been on a wild journey already. Oh, this is actually a fun, again, off topic, kind of sad, but also appropriate, Dan. This question comes in from DCT. He says, off topic question. In honor of the Prince of Darkness, what's your favorite? Yeah, Ozzy. I mean, he just had that big concert. I actually thought about going to it. I went and saw Metallica here in Chicago a year ago, and I was like, it was an amazing show. And I was like, wow, I haven't been to concerts in forever. I'm not a big live music guy. I think maybe the last concert I went to before that, Dan, was yours with the Daredevil Stunt Club back in the day. So it's been a while since I've been to a live show. And the Metallica show in Soldier Field was amazing. It was a 2-day show. And I was like, well, if I can go see Metallica again and see Ozzy and all these other great bands, the last show of Ozzy ever, I got to get to England, and the tickets sold out in like 5 minutes, so it was impossible to get. And then he dies, what, 2 weeks later? That's absolutely wild. Oh, but Dan, you're a longtime band guy. You obviously must be a fan of the aforementioned Prince of Darkness. What's your favorite? I think for this one, I'm going to lay ground rules. We can't go Crazy Train. It's too obvious. Can't go crazy. Crazy Train's a given. What else do you like from Ozzy, sir?
I mean, I am definitely a sucker for, like the poppiest poppy stuff, so Crazy Train, it's hard to go wrong with for sure. Although, I am Iron Man. That's always a fun one.
That's hard to go wrong with that one. That's how my son discovered kind of Ozzy and stuff, just from like the Iron Man movie, And they're playing that, and I was like, that's a really cool band. What's wild about it too? You see these now that he's passed away. They have all these obituaries going on about him. Not to be derailed, but I think our listener wanted to do this. He knew what he was doing, and you see all this footage. They debuted, Dan, in '68. So when the rest of the world was doing like Frank Sinatra and the Beatles and like Gladys Knight and the Pips, here comes Black Sabbath. I mean, can you imagine more of a juxtaposing style than that? It's wild. You see this black and white footage of them singing back in the day. It's like, wow, it couldn't have been more different, Dan. I don't think the world was ready for it.
Boy, I didn't realize that it was 68. Gosh, that's crazy, man. That is really, wow.
So you got your Tony Bennett's, your Frank Sinatra's, your Beatles, and Ozzy and Black Sabbath.
Well, you did have, I mean, the White Album, you did have Helter Skelter. That was like the Beatles' closest thing to heavy metal.
That's probably the closest thing to really rocking the Beatles got. Yeah, I'll give you that one. But yeah, they're not in the same league of Black Sabbath when it comes to proto metal. I'm gonna go then. Oh, a chat chiming in for No More Tears. It's an album. It's a great album. That's a song too. Yeah, it's a great one too. That was kind of a later one. I'm gonna go Bark at the Moon. Why not? Because how many great werewolf songs do you get at the end of the day? Not many. And Ozzy crushed it. So there we go. That might be a fun poll question, but there's too many. You have to have write-ins, Dan. Maybe it might be a fun one to do in honor of the aforementioned Prince of Dan. Does that make you want to go pick up the old bass and strum a few notes, sir?
I get the urge. I get the urge now and then. You know, you gotta scratch the itch. Scratch the itch.
Someday we'll have a duet here on the show. You'll play your bass and I'll play the triangle. How about that?
Perfect. I was thinking kazoo, but okay.
Kazoo,
fine.
triangle, maybe a little bit of the old what's the thing you hit with the bells?
Glockenspiel?
Yeah, glockenspiel. Or like, the background singer always hits it. Not a banjo. What's the word? It's a round thing with bells on it that all the people can't.
Tambourine.
Yes, there we go. Tambourine. There we go. I'll be rocking that with a kazoo and a whistle maybe. Hey, if you got something I got a good deep voice. I can pull that off probably. My voice is my weapon. All right, so good stuff. Yeah, that's kind of now I want to do a flash poll about Ozzy and what's your favorite. I'll take Black Sabbath or Ozzy solo. If you're going Black Sabbath, yeah, Iron Man's great. Obviously War Pigs, Paranoid, Snowblind, a deeper cut, but a great song. So yeah, there's so many. I mean, I can't list them all. I think for solo Ozzy, I'm gonna go Bark at the Moon just for fun. What was your vote, Dan? Oh, you like you can't go Crazy Train. That's too cheap.
Yeah, I went Iron Man.
Iron Man. Okay, there we go. Black Sabbath, but we'll take it. All right, Dan. Man, we had all over the place. Crazy puts, meme stocks, ratio spreads and VIX, problems with options trading, and of course, finishing up with the Prince of Darkness himself. R.I.P. Ozzy. Man, I know my brother went to see him at one of the Ozfest shows 20 years ago, Dan. It had to be 20 years ago. And he said even then he looked horrible, like he was on death's door. He couldn't move, couldn't sing. So the fact that he made it 20 more years is kind of wild, I guess. But that said, yes, R.I.P. to the Prince of Darkness. And Dan, if folks want to commiserate on proto metal as well as maybe talk some meme stock options trading, where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah, sure. I'm definitely talking meme stock option trading. Well, specifically short squeezes. And I actually have an encore of that online training coming up. So go to markettaker.com. Click on the top right, join free, and it'll put you on the list. I'll send you an invite to our online training for short squeezes.
There you go. Appropriate, if ever there was right now, listeners. A lot of YOLO madness going on out there. Speaking of madness, our day is not done. We're just getting started, listeners. I will be back in a little bit, 2 p.m. Central, to talk all things futures. And spoiler alert, I got a feeling ETH's going to make it on there, going from the bottom of our list, not quite to the top, but making some moves out there again. I will be joined by Morad Askar from EdgeClear to talk all things future. Should be a good one. Then we'll be back one final time at the end of the day after the bell, right around 3:30 Central, to talk what's dominating the tape. Maybe Open will make it back. And maybe the Wolf will be back on there. We'll find out on the Hot Options Report. You got to subscribe to the full network to get all of that goodness, listeners. Back again tomorrow with the Flow Master to talk the option block, This Week in Futures options, as well as, of course, the Hot Options Report. And then Friday, for our pro friends, we come back after Evolve Views exclusively for Options Oddities. If you want to check out all that cool stuff, theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go. Then we're back again next week to talk options and the Prince of Darkness on another episode of Options Bootcamp. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.